My brother sold my car while I was at my grandfather's funeral. I'm standing in the rain outside my apartment building at 11:47 p.m., holding my phone with shaking hands as I stare at the empty parking spot where my Honda Civic should be. The funeral program for Grandpa Joe is still clutched in my other hand, soggy now and falling apart just like everything else in my life right now. Pick up, pick up, pick up, I whisper as I call my brother Derek for the fourth time. It goes straight to voicemail again, and his smug voice telling me to leave a message after the beep makes me want to throw my phone into the street. I've been gone exactly 3 days. 3 days in Ohio saying goodbye to the man who taught me how to drive stick shift in that very car. 3 days trusting my older brother with the spare key so he could move my 2009 Civic during street cleaning like he'd done a dozen times before. 3 days of grieving with family while Derek apparently decided to destroy what little stability I had left. My neighbor Mrs. Patterson pokes her head out her window. Honey, are you okay? You look lost. Mrs. Patterson, did you see what happened to my car? The gray Honda that's usually parked right there. She adjusts her glasses and frowns. Oh sweetie, some tow truck came yesterday morning around 10 a.m. Big loud thing. I figured you'd arranged it since that boy of yours was out there talking to the driver. My heart drops into my stomach. What boy? The tall one who looks like you. Your brother. He was pointing at the car and everything. Had the keys. The funeral program finally disintegrates completely in my grip. Derek didn't just let my car get towed, he orchestrated it. While I was sitting in St. Mary's Church listening to my cousin Emma give a eulogy about Grandpa's integrity and family loyalty, my own brother was selling my car out from under me. This isn't just any car. This is the car Grandma Rose taught me to parallel park in when I turned 16. The car that still has her rosary hanging from the rearview mirror and her handwritten grocery lists tucked in the glove compartment. The car I've been making $180 monthly payments on for 2 years, even when it meant eating ramen for dinner 5 nights a week. I called Derek again. This time he answers on the second ring. Hey Mia, how was the funeral? The casual way he asks makes my vision blur with rage. Where is my car, Derek? Silence. Then, what do you mean? My car, Derek. The gray Honda Civic that was parked outside my apartment building when I left for Ohio. The one that's mysteriously gone now, according to my neighbor who saw you talking to a tow truck driver yesterday morning. Look, Mia, I can explain. Where is my car? Another pause. I can hear him breathing, probably calculating how much trouble he's in. I sold it. The words hit me like a physical blow. I actually stagger backward against the brick wall of my building. You what? I needed the money, okay? I'm 3 months behind on rent and Marcus was going to kick me out. The car was just sitting there, and you never drive it anyway. I was at a funeral. I scream into the phone, not caring that it's nearly midnight and I'm probably waking up half the neighborhood. I was burying our grandfather, and you stole my car. It's not stealing if I'm family, Derek says, and I can practically hear him rolling his eyes. Besides, you're being dramatic. It's just a car. Just a car. I'm pacing now, my sneakers splashing through puddles. Derek, that car has Grandma Rose's rosary in it. Her grocery lists. The stuffed elephant she bought me for my 18th birthday is in the back seat. All of that is gone because you needed rent money. Oh shit, I forgot about, look, maybe we can get some of that stuff back. I sold it to Eddie's Auto Salvage on Route 9. They probably haven't stripped it yet. My blood runs cold. You sold my car to a scrapyard? They gave me $1,200 cash, no questions asked. I was going to tell you when you got back and maybe split it with you or something. Split it? Split it? I'm screaming again. That car is worth at least $4,000. I still owe $2,800 on the loan, Derek. You basically just cost me money and stole everything I had left of Grandma. How was I supposed to know you still owed money on it? You should have told me. The audacity is breathtaking. I slide down the wall and sit on the wet concrete, rain still dripping from my hair. I shouldn't have to tell you not to steal my car when I'm at a funeral. Whatever, Mia. What's done is done. I'll pay you back when I can. With what money? You just told me you're broke. My voice cracks. Do you have any idea what kind of day I've had? Watching them lower Grandpa into the ground, listening to Dad cry during the eulogy, and then I come home to find out my own brother stabbed me in the back. Don't be so dramatic. It's not that big of a deal. That's when something snaps inside me. The grief, the exhaustion, the betrayal, it all crystallizes into perfect, cold clarity. You know what, Derek? You're absolutely right. It's not that big of a deal. My voice is eerily calm now. Just like it won't be a big deal when I tell Mom and Dad what you did. And Aunt Sarah. And all the cousins we just saw at the funeral. Mia, come on. And it definitely won't be a big deal when I file a police report for grand theft auto. Because that's what this is, Derek. You stole a car. The fact that it belonged to your sister doesn't make it legal. Now he's quiet. I can hear panic creeping into his voice when he finally speaks. You wouldn't call the cops on your own brother. Try me. I stand up, water dripping from my jeans. I trusted you. Grandpa Joe is dead, Grandma Rose has been gone for 2 years, and you just destroyed the last pieces I had of her because you were too irresponsible to pay your rent on time. Look, I'll figure something out. No, Derek. I'll figure something out. You just worry about finding a good lawyer. I hang up and immediately dial 911. 911, what's your emergency? I need to report a stolen vehicle. As I give the dispatcher my information, I'm already mentally preparing for war. Derek thinks this is just another mess that will blow over. He thinks he can charm his way out of consequences like he always has. He has no idea what's coming. The police officer who shows up at 12:43 a.m. looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Officer Martinez is probably in his 40s, with tired eyes and coffee stains on his uniform. He takes down my information while we stand under the flickering streetlight, his pen scratching against damp paper. So your brother had permission to use the vehicle, he asks, not looking up from his notepad. He had permission to move it during street cleaning. Not to sell it. I wrap my arms around myself, still soaked from the rain. There's a big difference between moving a car 10 feet and driving it to a scrapyard. Right, but he had keys and access. That complicates things legally. Martinez finally looks at me, and I can see he's already mentally filing this under family dispute rather than actual crime. Look, miss, I'm not saying what he did was right, but proving theft when family members are involved is tricky. You might want to consider small claims court instead. Small claims court has a limit of $3,000. My car was worth more than that, plus I still owe money on the loan. This isn't small claims territory. He sighs and closes his notepad. I'll file the report, but honestly, the DA probably won't prosecute. Your brother will claim he thought he had permission, and without clear evidence of intent to permanently deprive. He sold it to a scrapyard. I interrupt. How is that not intent to permanently deprive? I'm just telling you how these things usually go. Family court might be your better option. After he leaves, I sit in my apartment staring at the police report number he gave me. Case hashtag 2024-0847-192. Such a small number for something that's completely upended my life. I call Eddie's Auto Salvage at 6 a.m. sharp, as soon as they open. Yeah, we got a gray Honda yesterday, the guy confirms. His name is Sal and he sounds like he's been smoking for about 30 years. Some kid brought it in, said it was his sister's but she was getting rid of it. Gave me all the paperwork and everything. My heart jumps. What paperwork? Registration, title, looked legit to me. Kid seemed to know all about the car. He forged my signature on the title. The implications hit me immediately. This isn't just theft anymore, it's fraud. Sir, I need to come down there right away. That's my car and I never authorized any sale. Ah hell, Sal mutters. This is exactly why I hate dealing with family bullshit. Look lady, I paid good money for that car. $1,200 cash. My brother had no right to sell it. I was at my grandfather's funeral. There's a long pause. Funeral, huh? Yeah, that's rough. Tell you what, come down here and bring some ID. If you can prove the car's yours and the sale was bogus, maybe we can work something out. But I'm not eating the full loss here. I'm already grabbing my keys, my apartment keys, since my car keys are apparently wherever Derek ditched them. What condition is the car in? We haven't started stripping it yet, if that's what you're asking. But I already pulled the battery and drained the fluids. Standard procedure. There's a rosary hanging from the rearview mirror and some personal items in the glove compartment. Are those still there? Yeah, I think so. Didn't really look through the inside much. 20 minutes later, I'm standing in the parking lot of Eddie's Auto Salvage looking at my poor Civic sitting between a smashed pickup truck and a rusted-out minivan. The rosary is still there, Grandma Rose's wooden beads catching the early morning sunlight. I have to bite my lip to keep from crying. Sal walks over, wiping grease off his hands with a red rag. You're the sister. I'm the owner, I correct him. And I'm going to need you to help me prove that my brother committed fraud. He looks at the forged title in my hands, then back at my car, and shakes his head. This is gonna be one hell of a mess. Sal spreads the forged title across the hood of a junked Buick, and we both stare at it like it's evidence in a murder trial. The signature is decent. Derek always was good at copying handwriting from all those times he forged Mom's signature on permission slips in high school, but there are problems. See this date here. I point to where it says the title was signed on March 15th. I was in Ohio from the 12th through the 15th. There's no way I could have signed this on the 15th and also been at my grandfather's funeral at St. Mary's Church in Dayton. Sal squints at the paperwork. You got proof you were in Ohio? I pull out my phone and show him my boarding passes, still saved in my email. Delta Flight 1247, departed Thursday, March 12th at 6:30 a.m., returned Sunday, March 15th at 8:20 p.m. I have about 50 family members who can testify I was at that funeral. Damn. He rubs his stubbled jaw. Your brother really screwed the pooch on this one. Problem is, I'm still out $1,200. Not my problem, I say, surprising myself with how cold I sound. You bought stolen property. That's between you and Derek. Now hold on. Actually, you know what? This might work out perfectly for both of us. An idea is forming, and it's beautiful in its simplicity. You want your money back from Derek, and I want him to face consequences. What if we both press charges? Sal's eyes light up with understanding. Double whammy. I hit him for fraud, you hit him for theft. Exactly. 2 separate crimes, 2 separate cases. Much harder for him to weasel out of. I'm already dialing the police station. Officer Martinez. This is Mia Chen from case number 2024-0847-192. I have new evidence that this isn't just theft, it's fraud and forgery. An hour later, Martinez is back at the salvage yard with a detective named Rodriguez who actually seems to give a shit about the case. Rodriguez is younger, maybe early 30s, with sharp eyes that miss nothing as she examines the forged title. This signature analysis will need to go to our document examiner, she says, carefully placing the title in an evidence bag. But based on what you've shown me, we're looking at multiple felonies. Grand theft auto, fraud, forgery, your brother's looking at serious time if convicted. My phone buzzes with a text from Derek, heard you called the cops. Really, Mia? Over a car. I show the message to Rodriguez. He's still treating this like it's no big deal. They always do, until they get arrested. She makes a note in her file. The arrogance actually helps us, keeps them making mistakes. Rodriguez turns to Sal. You ready to press charges for fraud? Hell yes. Nobody makes me look like a fool and costs me money. Good. We'll coordinate both cases. Mr. Chen won't know what hit him. After the police leave, Sal helps me get my car running again. The battery takes a jump, and he refills the fluids he drained. She's all yours, he says, patting the hood. And hey, I hope your brother gets everything that's coming to him. Driving home feels surreal. Grandma Rose's rosary sways gently from the mirror, and I can smell her perfume still lingering faintly in the upholstery. I check the glove compartment at a red light. Her grocery lists are still there, written in her careful script: milk, bread, those cookies Mia likes. My phone rings as I pull into my parking spot. It's Derek. Mia, what the hell? Detective Rodriguez just called and said she wants to discuss some charges with me. You actually got me arrested over this? You're not arrested yet, I say sweetly. That comes later. Right now they just want to chat about how you forged my signature and committed multiple felonies. Multiple felonies? Jesus Christ, Mia, it was just fraud. Just theft. Just forgery. I'm sitting in my reclaimed car, Grandma's rosary in my hand. Just destroying irreplaceable memories while I buried our grandfather. I'll pay you back. With what money, Derek? You're 3 months behind on rent, remember? For the first time, he sounds actually scared. What do you want? What will it take to make this go away? I smile, even though he can't see it. Nothing you can afford. The next morning, I'm sitting in my criminal justice professor's office hours, explaining the situation to Dr. Kim while she reviews copies of all my documentation. I figured if anyone would know how to navigate this legal maze, it would be someone who teaches pre-law students about the justice system. This is actually a textbook case, she says, adjusting her reading glasses. Your brother made several critical errors that work in your favor. She spreads out the timeline I've created. The forged signature, selling to a scrapyard for well below market value, doing it while you were provably out of state attending a funeral. Any decent prosecutor will love this. Officer Martinez seemed to think it would be hard to prove because Derek had access to the keys. Martinez is thinking like a patrol cop, not a prosecutor. Detective Rodriguez understands the difference. Dr. Kim leans back in her chair. The key legal concept here is scope of permission. Derek had permission to move your car during street cleaning, a specific, limited purpose. Selling it is so far outside that scope that no reasonable person could claim confusion. My phone buzzes with another text from Derek. Mom wants to talk to you. I had to tell her what happened because the detective called asking for character references. I showed Dr. Kim the message. He's trying to get family pressure on me to drop the charges. Document everything, she advises. Every text, every call, every attempt to manipulate you. If he tries to intimidate you into dropping charges, that's witness tampering, another felony. 20 minutes later, I'm sitting in my apartment when Mom calls. I let it ring 3 times before answering, mentally preparing myself. Mia, honey, Derek told me what happened. I'm so sorry about your car, but don't you think pressing charges is a bit extreme? Here we go. Mom, he stole my car while I was at Grandpa's funeral. He forged my signature to sell it to a scrapyard. What part of that seems not extreme to you? I know he made a mistake, but he's family. Can't you work this out between yourselves? He had 3 days to work it out. Instead, he chose to lie to me and act like I was being dramatic. I'm pacing around my living room now. Mom, I found Grandma Rose's grocery list in the glove compartment yesterday. The one where she wrote those cookies Mia likes. I almost lost that forever because Derek needed rent money. There's a long pause. Mom's voice is softer when she speaks again. I didn't know about Grandma's things being in the car. Derek didn't care enough to ask. He saw something he could turn into cash and took it. I sit down hard on my couch. I'm not dropping the charges, Mom. He needs to face real consequences for once. What do you mean, for once? Come on. Remember when he borrowed Dad's tools and pawned them? Or when he used Sarah's credit card information to order those concert tickets? You guys always made excuses for him, found ways to fix his problems without him actually learning anything. That's different. How is it different? Because this time he stole from me instead of you. My voice is rising. I'm not his parents, Mom. I'm not going to enable his bullshit anymore. After I hang up, I make a list of every time Derek has pulled something like this over the years. The tools, $400 worth that Dad never got back. Sarah's credit card, $600 in fraudulent charges that she ate rather than press charges against her own cousin. The time he borrowed my college textbooks and sold them back to the bookstore without telling me, $300 I had to scramble to replace. I call Sarah. Oh my God, Mia, I heard what happened. Are you okay? I'm furious, but I'm handling it. Sarah, can I ask you something? Do you regret not pressing charges when Derek used your credit card? There's a pause. Every single day. He never paid me back, and last I heard, he was doing the same shit to other people. I should have stopped him when I had the chance. It's not too late, I say quietly. Credit card fraud doesn't have a statute of limitations if it's part of a pattern. You think I should? I think Derek is about to learn that actions have consequences. The question is whether you want to be part of teaching him that lesson. By the time I hang up, Sarah is digging through her old files looking for the credit card statements from 2 years ago. My phone rings again. This time it's Derek, and he sounds panicked. Mia, you need to call off Detective Rodriguez. She's asking all kinds of questions about other stuff now, not just the car. What other stuff? I ask innocently. You know exactly what other stuff. This is getting way out of hand. Oh, you mean your pattern of stealing from family members? Yeah, funny how that comes up when you're being investigated for stealing from a family member. I never stole from Dad's tools, Sarah's credit card, my textbooks, my car. Each item hits like a bullet. Should I keep going? The line goes quiet except for his heavy breathing. Derek? You still there? You're destroying my life over a stupid car. No, I say calmly. You destroyed your own life. I'm just making sure you get credit for it. The next morning, I wake up to 17 missed calls from Derek and a voicemail that makes my blood run cold. Mia, I'm outside your apartment. We need to talk face to face. This has gone far enough. I peek through my blinds and sure enough, there's Derek's beat-up Jeep parked across the street. He's leaning against it, smoking a cigarette and staring at my building. My hands shake as I screenshot his location and text it to Detective Rodriguez with a message. Brother showed up at my apartment uninvited after I pressed charges. Feels like intimidation. She texts back within minutes, do not engage. Calling patrol unit now. Document everything. 20 minutes later, Derek's phone must be ringing because I watch him answer it, his whole body language changing from casual to agitated. He keeps looking up at my window, gesturing wildly with his free hand. After about 5 minutes, he throws his cigarette down, stomps on it, and drives off. Rodriguez calls me at 9:15 a.m. That was me on the phone with your brother. Explained that showing up at a victim's residence during an active investigation was a very bad idea. He won't be bothering you at home again. What did he say when you called? That he was just trying to work things out with family. I told him that's what lawyers are for. There's shuffling of papers in the background. Speaking of which, we've got some interesting developments. The document examiner fast-tracked your case, the signature forgery is blatant. Different pen pressure, wrong slant, and he misspelled your middle name. I actually laugh out loud. He misspelled my middle name. On a legal document. Spelled Lynn with one N instead of two. Not exactly criminal mastermind material. Rodriguez pauses. There's more. We ran his information through our system. Turns out Derek has been busy. 3 unpaid traffic tickets, a bench warrant for missing a court date on a shoplifting charge from last year, and get this, he's currently on probation for passing bad checks. My stomach drops. Probation. 6 months probation that he apparently forgot to mention to his probation officer when he moved apartments. Also forgot to mention the job he lost 2 months ago. I can hear her smiling through the phone. Your brother just violated his probation in about 4 different ways. Even if we didn't have him dead to rights on your car, he's looking at jail time. After I hang up, I sit in my kitchen drinking coffee and processing this information. Derek isn't just the irresponsible younger brother anymore, he's a repeat offender who's been lying to everyone, including the court system. My phone buzzes with a text from Sarah, found the credit card statements. $847 in fraudulent charges, not $600 like I thought. Filing a report today. Then another text from my cousin Jake, heard about Derek and your car. He owes me $300 from last Christmas. Never mentioned he was on probation. What a piece of shit. And another from my friend Marcus, who I realize is Derek's landlord. Mia, is Derek really facing theft charges? Because he told me his sister was lending him money to catch up on rent. Paid me $1,200 cash yesterday and said it was from you. I screenshot Marcus's text and immediately forwarded it to Rodriguez. Derek used my stolen car money to pay his rent and lied about where it came from. That's not just theft anymore, that's money laundering. The beautiful thing about Derek's lies is that he told different versions to different people, and now they're all comparing notes. To the police, he claimed he thought he had permission. To Mom, he said it was a misunderstanding between siblings. To his landlord, he said I gave him the money willingly. To his probation officer, well, apparently he said nothing at all. My phone rings. It's Detective Rodriguez again. Miss Chen, we need to talk. Your brother's story is falling apart faster than we can keep up with it. The meeting with Detective Rodriguez takes place at the police station downtown, in one of those beige interview rooms that smells like stale coffee and broken dreams. She spreads Derek's web of lies across the table like a roadmap to stupidity. Your brother made a critical error, Rodriguez says, tapping a folder thick with evidence. He told his probation officer, Officer Janet Henley, that he was employed full-time at Morrison Construction and living at 412 Elm Street. Problem is, Morrison Construction fired him in January, and he's been crashing at 3 different apartments since February, including yours sometimes. I blink. He's been staying at my place. According to your neighbor Mrs. Patterson, she's seen him coming and going with a key for weeks. Apparently he told her you two were sharing the apartment to save money. Rodriguez flips through her notes. Were you aware your brother was using your address as his official residence? My blood pressure spikes. Absolutely not. He has his own apartment across town, the one he couldn't afford rent for, remember? Had. Past tense. Marcus Reeves confirmed Derek was evicted March 8 for non-payment. Been living out of his car and crashing wherever he could since then. She slides a document across the table. Including forging a lease agreement claiming you two were co-tenants. The forged lease has my signature again, this time even sloppier than the car title. He's been committing identity fraud for weeks. This isn't just about my car anymore. No, it's not. We're looking at a pattern of escalating financial crimes. Rodriguez leans back in her chair. The $1,200 from your car sale. He didn't just use it for rent. He used $400 to pay down a payday loan that was about to go to collections, $200 to cover those unpaid traffic tickets, and the remaining $600 to Marcus for rent on an apartment he'd already been evicted from. Wait, what? I'm having trouble following the math. Marcus told me Derek paid him $1,200. Derek paid Marcus $600 to cover the last month he lived there, then told Marcus the full $1,200 came from you to make it sound like you were financially supporting him. Marcus assumed you were helping with current rent, not back rent on an eviction. The scope of Derek's deception is breathtaking. So he stole my car, forged multiple documents, lied to his landlord, violated his probation, and committed identity fraud. Am I missing anything? Actually, yes. Rodriguez pulls out another file. Sarah Chen filed her report this morning. Credit card fraud from 2022, $847 in damages. And here's where it gets interesting. Derek used those fraudulent purchases to buy items he later sold on Facebook Marketplace. We found the posts. She shows me printouts of Facebook listings, concert tickets, $300. College textbooks, various subjects, $250. Craftsman tool set, barely used, $400. Those are Dad's tools, I whisper. And my textbooks. Your brother's been running a family theft ring for years. Steal from relatives, sell online, pocket the cash. Rodriguez closes the file. The DA loves cases like this. Clear pattern, multiple victims, documented evidence. Derek's looking at 2 to 5 years minimum. My phone buzzes with an unknown number. I show it to Rodriguez, who nods for me to answer. Mia. It's Derek. I'm calling from my friend Tony's phone because the cops took mine as evidence. His voice is shaking. I need you to listen carefully. I know you're mad, but if you don't drop these charges, I'm going to lose everything. You already lost everything when you stole my car. I'm serious, Mia. They're talking about prison. Actual prison. Over family bullshit that should have stayed family bullshit. Rodriguez is frantically writing notes and making hand signals for me to keep him talking. It stopped being family bullshit when you forged my signature, Derek. And when you used my address illegally. And when you lied to your probation officer. How do you know about? He stops mid-sentence. Because I know everything now. Sarah filed charges too. Dad probably will when he finds out about his tools. You didn't just steal from me, you've been stealing from everyone. The line goes quiet except for Derek's panicked breathing. Derek? You still there? This is all your fault, he says finally, his voice turning cold. If you hadn't been so dramatic about a stupid car, none of this would have happened. And that's when I know Derek still doesn't get it. You know what, Derek? You're absolutely right. This is all my fault. I can see Rodriguez's eyebrows shoot up, but I keep going. I should have called the cops the first time you stole from family. When you took Dad's tools and never returned them. When you fraudulently used Sarah's credit card. I enabled this behavior by staying quiet. That's not what I'm especially sorry I trusted you with my keys while I went to bury the grandfather who taught us both about honor and integrity. Clearly, that was a massive error in judgment on my part. Derek's breathing gets heavier. Mia, please. I'm begging you. I'll do anything to fix this. Anything. Yes. Whatever it takes. Rodriguez slides me a note, asterisk keep him talking. He might confess to more, asterisk. Okay, Derek. I want you to tell me about every single thing you've stolen or sold that belonged to someone else in the past 3 years. Everything. If you're honest with me right now, maybe I can convince Detective Rodriguez to recommend leniency. There's a long pause. I can practically hear Derek's wheels turning, trying to calculate what I might already know versus what he can still hide. The tools were just sitting in Dad's garage. He wasn't using them. What else? Sarah's credit card thing was only supposed to be temporary. I was gonna pay her back when my tax refund came. What else, Derek? Another pause. Look, the textbook thing wasn't even illegal. You left them at Mom's house, so I figured. What else? His voice gets smaller. There might be some other stuff. Rodriguez writes furiously, bingo. What other stuff? Remember when Aunt Linda said her jewelry went missing during Thanksgiving 2 years ago? The stuff she thought the housekeeper took. My blood runs cold. Aunt Linda fired Maria, a woman who'd worked for her family for 15 years, over missing jewelry worth $2,000. Maria couldn't find another job for months because of the accusation. Derek, please tell me you didn't. I was desperate. I had gambling debts and these guys were threatening me. I only took a few pieces, and I was gonna replace them, but then Linda went crazy and blamed the housekeeper. Rodriguez is now writing so fast I'm worried she might get carpal tunnel. She slides me another note. He just confessed to felony theft and destroyed an innocent woman's reputation. What happened to the jewelry? Sold it to this pawn shop on 5th Street. Got like $800, which wasn't even close to what I owed, but it bought me time. Derek, do you understand that an innocent woman lost her job because of what you did? That wasn't my fault. Linda jumped to conclusions. It absolutely was your fault. My voice cracks with rage. Maria worked for Aunt Linda for 15 years. She has 3 kids. Linda was like family to her. I didn't know Linda would freak out and blame the help. Rodriguez stands up abruptly and leaves the room. Through the door window, I can see her on the phone, probably with the DA's office or Aunt Linda. Derek, is there anything else? Because I promise you, if I find out later that you're still lying to me, any chance of leniency disappears completely. Heavy breathing. Then, there's one more thing. Remember Cousin Mike's identity theft situation last year? My heart stops. Mike spent 6 months and thousands of dollars in legal fees clearing his name after someone opened credit cards using his information. It destroyed his credit score and nearly cost him his house. Derek, no. Please tell me you didn't. I only used his info for like 2 small credit cards. And I was making the minimum payments. It's not like I maxed them out or anything. Rodriguez walks back in, and the look on her face tells me everything I need to know. Derek isn't just looking at 2 to 5 years anymore. He's looking at a decade. Derek, I say quietly, I want you to hang up now and call a lawyer. Don't say another word to anyone until you have legal representation. But you said. I lied. Just like you've been lying to everyone for years. The difference is, my lie was to get you to confess. Your lies destroyed innocent people's lives. I hang up on Derek and stare at Detective Rodriguez, who looks like she just won the lottery and got a migraine at the same time. Your brother is officially the dumbest criminal I've encountered this year, she says, shaking her head. He just confessed to enough felonies to put him away until he's middle-aged. My phone immediately starts buzzing with callbacks from Tony's number, but I silence it. What happens now? Now I call the DA, Aunt Linda, and Cousin Mike. Your brother just turned a simple car theft into a federal case. Rodriguez gathers up her files. Identity theft across state lines is FBI territory. Mike's credit cards were issued by banks in different states, which makes this wire fraud. FBI. My voice comes out as a squeak. Derek's graduating from local police to federal prosecutors. They don't mess around with identity theft rings. She pauses at the door. You did good, Mia. Getting him to confess like that probably saved months of investigation. 20 minutes later, I'm sitting in my car in the police station parking lot when my phone rings. It's Aunt Linda. Mia, honey, Detective Rodriguez just called me about Derek and some jewelry. I'm having trouble understanding what she meant. This is the conversation I've been dreading. Aunt Linda, Derek confessed to stealing your jewelry during Thanksgiving 2022. The jewelry you thought Maria took. The silence stretches so long I checked to make sure the call didn't drop. Maria, she finally whispers. Oh my god. Maria. He sold it to a pawn shop on 5th Street for $800. He let you fire an innocent woman rather than admit what he'd done. I can hear Aunt Linda crying. I ruined her life. I told everyone in the family not to trust her. I gave her a terrible reference when she tried to find other work. She has 3 children, Mia. 3 children. I know. How do I fix this? How do I possibly make this right? I don't know, I admit. But maybe Detective Rodriguez can help you figure that out. After we hang up, I just sit in my car for a while, watching normal people go about their normal lives. A woman walks by with a stroller, talking on her phone about grocery lists. A businessman hurries past, briefcase in one hand, coffee in the other. Everyone living their uncomplicated lives while mine implodes in real time. My phone buzzes with a text from my cousin Mike. Rodriguez called. Derek used my info for credit cards. What the fuck, Mia? Then another from Dad. Your mother told me about Derek in your car. We need to talk about my missing tools. And another from Sarah. Just got off the phone with FBI Special Agent Chin. No relation, apparently. They want to interview me about Derek's pattern of financial crimes. This is insane. Then my phone actually rings. It's Mom, and she's crying before I even say hello. Mia, what have you done? Derek's been arrested. FBI agents came to his apartment, well, Tony's apartment where he was staying, and took him away in handcuffs. The neighbors saw everything. I didn't do anything, Mom. Derek did this to himself. The charges. She's sobbing now. They're saying identity theft, wire fraud, conspiracy. These aren't family problems anymore, Mia. These are federal crimes. They were always crimes, Mom. We just kept calling them family problems. He could go to prison for 20 years. 20 years, Mia. Is your car really worth destroying your brother's entire life? And that's when something inside me snaps completely. My car. I'm screaming now, not caring who hears me in the parking lot. MOM, he stole from everyone. He destroyed Maria's reputation and career. He ruined Mike's credit. He's been stealing from our family for years while we all made excuses for him. But if you hadn't pressed charges over the car, then he would have kept stealing. From us, from strangers, from anyone unlucky enough to trust him. I'm out of my car now, pacing between the parking meters. Someone had to stop him, Mom. I'm just sorry it took losing Grandma's rosary to make me grow a spine. The line goes quiet except for Mom's sniffling. Derek made his choices, I continue, my voice steadying. Every single crime was a choice. And now he gets to live with the consequences. The funeral for Derek's reputation happens at Sunday family dinner, exactly 1 week after his arrest made the local news. I arrive at Mom and Dad's house at exactly 6 p.m., armed with printed copies of every police report, every confession transcript, and a 3-page timeline of Derek's crimes that I've color-coded by victim. Mom answers the door with red-rimmed eyes and a forced smile. Mia, honey, maybe we should keep dinner light tonight. Don't bring up, the fact that your son is a federal criminal. I step past her into the living room where half the extended family has gathered. That's going to be difficult, considering it's why we're all here. Uncle Tom looks up from his beer. Mia, your mom said Derek's in some kind of trouble, but the details were fuzzy. The details weren't fuzzy. Mom just didn't want to admit that Derek's been stealing from everyone in this room. I set my folder down on the coffee table like I'm presenting evidence to a jury. Who wants to hear about their own victimization first? Aunt Linda raises her trembling hand. I'll go. Detective Rodriguez helped me find Maria yesterday. She's been cleaning offices at night for 2 years because no family would hire her after I destroyed her reputation. Her voice breaks. Because of Derek's theft, I ruined an innocent woman's life and her children have been struggling financially. Cousin Mike stands up abruptly, his face flushed. My turn. Those credit cards Derek opened in my name. They didn't just hurt my credit score. The debt collectors were calling my job, Mia. My boss started questioning my financial responsibility. I almost lost my promotion because of Derek's fraud. Dad clears his throat from his recliner. The craftsman tools he took were my father's. Grandpa Joe gave them to me when I bought this house in 1987. Derek didn't just steal tools, he stole a piece of family history and sold it on Facebook for $400. The room falls silent except for the ticking of Mom's antique clock. Sarah shifts uncomfortably on the couch, then speaks up. The credit card fraud from 2022 maxed out my emergency card. When my furnace died last winter, I had to take out a payday loan at 23% interest because Derek had destroyed my available credit. I'm still paying for his crimes. I open my folder and spread out the timeline. This isn't bad luck or poor decisions. This is a calculated pattern spanning 3 years, targeting people who trusted him most. I point to the first entry. November 2021, steals Dad's tools during Thanksgiving weekend while everyone's distracted. January 2022, uses Sarah's credit card information obtained during Christmas gift exchanges. November 2022, steals Aunt Linda's jewelry during family dinner, lets Maria take the blame. Mom is crying again. Why are you doing this? He's already been arrested. Isn't that enough punishment? Because for 3 years, every time Derek stole from someone in this family, the rest of you convinced that person to stay quiet for the sake of family unity. I pull out a separate sheet. Sarah, you told me Dad suggested you not press charges because Derek was going through a rough patch. Linda, Mom convinced you that calling the police would tear the family apart. Mike, Uncle Tom said handling it privately would be more Christian. Uncle Tom sets down his beer hard. Now hold on. Every single one of you prioritized Derek's comfort over his victim's justice. You enabled a criminal because admitting he was a criminal would be embarrassing. I stand up, looking around the room at faces filled with shame and anger. Well, guess what? The FBI doesn't care about family unity. Federal prosecutors don't take Christmas cards. Derek's going to prison whether we're embarrassed or not. My phone buzzes with a text from Detective Rodriguez. Derek's bail hearing scheduled for tomorrow 9 a.m. Prosecutor recommending no bail due to flight risk and pattern of fraud. Thought you'd want to know. I read the message aloud to the room. No bail, Dad says quietly. That means Derek stays in federal detention until trial. Could be months. I gather up my papers. Maybe he'll finally have time to think about what he's done to all of you. Mom stands up, her face twisted with grief and rage. How can you be so cold about your own brother? The same way Derek was cold about stealing from his own family, I reply, walking toward the door. I learn from the best. 3 days after Sunday dinner, I'm sitting in criminal justice class when my phone starts buzzing with an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, but it immediately starts ringing again. Same number. During the break, I check the voicemail. It's Derek, and he sounds different, smaller, scared. Mia, it's me calling from the detention center. They gave me 10 minutes. Please, I need you to listen. The federal prosecutor wants me to flip on someone bigger. They think I was working with other people, like this was some organized thing. But I wasn't. I'm just a screw-up who made bad choices. They're talking about a plea deal, but my public defender says I need character witnesses. Family members will testify that I'm not usually like this. The voicemail cuts off, then immediately another one starts. I know you hate me right now, but I'm begging you. If I don't get family support, they're going to make an example out of me. 20 years, Mia. I can't do 20 years. Please call the detention center and tell them you'll accept my calls. Please. I'm staring at my phone when Dr. Kim approaches. Everything okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. My brother wants me to be a character witness for his sentencing hearing. She raises her eyebrows. The same brother who stole your car and committed federal fraud? That's the one. I show her the voicemail transcript. His lawyer thinks family testimony might get him a lighter sentence. Dar. Kim studies the message, then looks at me with that expression professors get when they're about to turn your life into a teaching moment. What do you think you should do? Honestly, part of me wants to watch him burn. But another part remembers when we were kids and he taught me how to ride a bike. When he scared off Tommy Morrison for making fun of my braces in 7th grade. I slump against the wall. I don't know how to separate the brother I grew up with from the criminal he became. Have you considered that maybe they're the same person? That the capacity for protection and cruelty can exist in one individual? Before I can answer, my phone rings again. This time it's Mom. Mia, Derek's lawyer called. Jennifer Martinez, she seems very nice. She wants to meet with family members about writing impact letters for his sentencing. Impact letters are supposed to be from victims, Mom, not character witnesses. Well, she said the family could write about how Derek's actions affected all of us, and how his absence would impact us too. Mom's voice has that pleading tone she gets when she's trying to manage family crisis. She suggested we emphasize how Derek was struggling with depression and financial stress, how he's not a career criminal. I walk outside the building, needing fresh air for this conversation. Mom, Derek isn't struggling with depression. He's struggling with consequences. There's a difference. Jennifer thinks if we present a united family front, show that Derek has support and accountability at home, the judge might be more lenient. What kind of accountability? Are you planning to supervise his probation? Pay restitution to his victims? Because that's what accountability actually looks like. I just think. You just think that if we all pretend Derek is a good person who made mistakes, somehow that makes it true. I'm pacing across the campus quad now, dodging students who are giving me concerned looks. But Aunt Linda is still trying to rebuild Maria's life. Mike's credit is still destroyed. Sarah is still paying off that payday loan from Derek's fraud. But he's still your brother. So are all his victims our family members. Why does Derek's well-being matter more than theirs? There's a long silence, then Mom says quietly, Jennifer wants to meet with you specifically. She thinks your testimony would carry the most weight since you're the one who pressed the original charges. That stops me cold. She wants me to testify on Derek's behalf. She thinks if the person who reported him also speaks up for him, it shows forgiveness and family healing. Very powerful for the judge. I sit down hard on a bench, my mind racing through the implications. Derek's lawyer wants me to essentially say that his crimes weren't that serious, that he deserves mercy, that family forgiveness should override federal prosecution. What did you tell her? I told her I'd ask. Mia, please just meet with her. Derek is sitting in a federal detention center right now, probably scared out of his mind. Good, I say, surprising myself with the venom in my voice. Maybe he's finally understanding how his victims felt when he destroyed their lives. How can you be so heartless? How can you still be making excuses for him? I stand up and start walking toward my car. Mom, I need to go. But before I do, I want you to think about something. You're asking me to help Derek avoid consequences for stealing from me. You're literally asking his victim to help him escape justice. What message does that send to every other person he hurt? I hang up and immediately call Detective Rodriguez. Rodriguez here. Detective, it's Mia Chen. Derek's defense attorney wants to meet with me about testifying on his behalf at sentencing. Is that normal? Unfortunately, yes. Defense attorneys often approach family members hoping to create sympathy for defendants. Papers rustle in the background. But Mia, I need to tell you something. Derek's case just got more complicated. My stomach drops. What do you mean? We executed a search warrant on his electronics yesterday. Found communications with 3 other individuals who appear to be part of a broader identity theft ring. Derek wasn't working alone, he was part of an organized operation targeting families through social manipulation. The campus seems to tilt around me. He was part of a conspiracy. Looking that way. Which means the federal prosecutor's offer of 20 years wasn't a threat, it was optimistic. If Derek gets charged with conspiracy and racketeering, he's looking at life. The meeting with Derek's public defender takes place in a sterile conference room at the federal courthouse. Jennifer Martinez is younger than I expected, maybe early 30s, with tired eyes and a coffee-stained legal pad covered in frantic notes. Miss Chen, thank you for coming. I know this is difficult. She gestures to a chair across from her. I'll be direct, your brother is in serious trouble. The conspiracy charges add mandatory minimums that could put him away for 15 to 20 years, minimum. I sit down slowly, my purse clutched in my lap. Detective Rodriguez mentioned something about other people being involved. 3 co-conspirators, all arrested yesterday. Jennifer flips through a thick file. Marcus Webb, Anthony Santos, and Jennifer Kim, no relation to me. They've been running identity theft schemes across 5 states, specifically targeting family members and close friends because those victims are less likely to press charges immediately. My blood runs cold. Derek was recruiting victims from our family? It appears so. The FBI found detailed profiles Derek created of potential targets, financial information, personal habits, travel schedules. She slides a document across the table, and I recognize Derek's handwriting immediately. This is his assessment of you as of Mark. I stare at Derek's notes about my life, written like I'm livestock being evaluated. Mia, college student, limited income, travels occasionally for family events. Has sentimental attachment to car, emotional manipulation angle. Trusts me with keys, easy access. Unlikely to involve police immediately due to family loyalty. He planned this, I whisper. The car theft wasn't desperation, it was calculated. The timing of your grandfather's funeral gave him the perfect 3-day window. He knew you'd be emotionally vulnerable and out of state. Jennifer's voice is gentle but professional. Miss Chen, I need you to understand, Derek wasn't just your brother making bad choices. He was an active participant in a criminal enterprise that has devastated families across the Midwest. She shows me more documents, bank records showing Derek received $2,400 as his cut from the car sale, not the $1,200 I thought. Wire transfers to accounts in 3 different states. Credit applications using not just Mike's information, but also my social security number and mom's maiden name. He used my identity too. My voice comes out strangled. Applied for 2 credit cards in your name last month. They were declined due to your student status, but the applications are still fraud. Jennifer closes the file. The federal prosecutor, Assistant U.S. Attorney David Park, is offering Derek a plea deal. 15 years in federal prison if he provides substantial assistance in prosecuting the other 3 defendants. 15 years is the good deal. Without the plea, he's looking at life without parole under the federal 3 strikes law. Derek has 2 prior felony convictions in other states that never showed up in local background checks. The room starts spinning. What prior convictions? Credit card fraud in Nevada, 2019. Identity theft in Arizona, 2021. Jennifer watches my face carefully. Your family didn't know. We thought he was working construction in Vegas, then Phoenix. He came home every Christmas, told stories about job sites and roommates. I trail off, remembering how Derek always paid for dinner when he visited, how he seemed to have money when the rest of us were struggling. Miss Chen, here's where I need your help. Derek's value as a cooperating witness depends partly on demonstrating that he was manipulated by the other defendants, that he's not a career criminal despite evidence to the contrary. She pulls out a legal pad. Family testimony about his character, his remorse, his potential for rehabilitation, that could make the difference between 15 years and life. You want me to lie. I want you to tell the truth about your relationship with your brother. The positive aspects. His capacity for change. Jennifer leans forward. I've read the police reports. Derek committed terrible crimes against your family. But he's also cooperating fully now, providing information that will shut down this entire operation and prevent other families from being victimized. My phone buzzes with a text from Rodriguez. Derek gave us Webb's location. Just arrested him with $40,000 in cash and fake IDs for 6 different people. Your brother's cooperation is saving lives. I show Jennifer the message. So Derek's helping catch worse criminals. Much worse. Webb and Santos have been doing this for years. They recruit desperate people like Derek to target their own families and social circles. Derek was essentially a mid-level employee in a much larger operation. But he still chose to steal from us. He absolutely did. And he needs to face consequences for those choices. Jennifer checks her watch. The question is whether those consequences should destroy his entire life, or whether there's room for justice that also allows for eventual redemption. I stare at Derek's handwritten notes about my emotional vulnerabilities, and wonder if the brother who taught me to ride a bike ever really existed, or if I just imagined the good parts because loving him was easier than accepting the truth. I need time to think about this. Of course. But Miss Chen. The plea hearing is scheduled for Friday. After that, the 15-year offer disappears forever. I spend Tuesday night staring at Derek's criminal profile of me, reading his notes about my emotional vulnerabilities over and over until the words blur together. By Wednesday morning, I've made a decision that surprises even me. I call Jennifer Martinez at 8:30 a.m. sharp. Miss Chen, have you decided about the character testimony? I have. But I want to speak with Derek first. Face to face. Before I commit to anything, I need to hear directly from him what he was thinking when he wrote this assessment of me. There's a pause. That's unusual. But I can arrange a meeting at the detention center. Are you sure you want to confront him with that document? I'm absolutely sure. The federal detention center smells like industrial disinfectant and despair. I sit in the visiting room for 20 minutes, watching other families have hushed conversations with their incarcerated relatives, before Derek finally appears in an orange jumpsuit that makes his skin look gray. He sits down across from me, separated by thick plexiglass, and picks up the phone. His eyes are red-rimmed and he's lost weight. Mia, thank God. I wasn't sure you'd come. I place his handwritten profile against the glass so he can see it clearly. Tell me about this, Derek. His face goes completely white. Where did you get that? The FBI found it when they searched your electronics. along with similar profiles for Mike, Sarah, Dad, and Aunt Linda. I tapped the glass over his notes about my travel schedule. You documented my grandfather's funeral as a business opportunity. While I was crying over his casket, you were calculating how to exploit my grief. Derek's hand shakes as he holds the phone. Mia, it wasn't like that. Then explain it to me. Explain how writing sentimental attachment to car, emotional manipulation angle was anything other than predatory. Marcus and Tony, they made me write reports on potential, on people who might be good for jobs. I didn't want to, but they said if I didn't contribute to the operation, they'd cut me out entirely. So you contributed me instead. My voice is deadly calm. You turned your own sister into a mark for a criminal enterprise. I never thought they'd actually approve the car job. I thought they'd say it was too risky because your family. Derek is crying now, tears streaming down his face. When Marcus said to go ahead with it, I should have refused, but I was desperate. The Nevada conviction put me on their radar, and if I didn't prove my value. Wait, stop. I lean forward. The Nevada conviction was for working with these same people. Derek's silence tells me everything. How long, Derek? How long have you been part of this organization? Since 2019, he whispers. That construction job in Vegas was cover. I was running credit card scams for Webb's crew, got caught, did 8 months in county. When I got out, I was supposed to stay clean, but Webb threatened my probation officer. Said he had connections who could violate me back to prison if I didn't keep working. The pieces clicked together with horrifying clarity. Every family gathering for the past 4 years, you weren't visiting. You were surveilling. Collecting information on potential victims. I tried to keep you guys off the target lists. Why do you think it took them so long to approve jobs involving our family? I kept stalling, making excuses, saying you weren't good marks. But eventually you ran out of excuses. Webb said if I didn't deliver family targets, he'd have Santos hurt Mom and Dad. Make it look like a home invasion. Derek's voice breaks completely. I chose you because I thought you were strong enough to handle it. That you'd bounce back faster than the others. I stare at my brother through the plexiglass, this stranger wearing Derek's face, and realize I never knew him at all. The protector who scared off Tommy Morrison, the teacher who helped me ride a bike, that person was already compromised, already calculating angles, already deciding which family members were acceptable casualties. Jennifer Martinez thinks your cooperation testimony could help dismantle Webb's entire operation. Derek nods frantically. I've given them everything. Bank accounts, safe houses, victim lists, planned jobs in 6 different states. They're going to save hundreds of families from what happened to you. And you want me to testify that you deserve mercy for that cooperation. I know I don't deserve it, Derek says quietly. But Mia, if I take the life sentence, Webb wins. He gets to keep destroying families while I rot in prison. If I take the 15-year deal, I can spend the rest of my life trying to make amends. My phone buzzes with a text from Rodriguez, Santos arrested this morning trying to flee to Mexico. Had target profiles for 200+ families, including detailed plans for your parents' house. Derek's intel prevented potential home invasions across 3 states. I showed Derek the message through the glass. They were planning to hurt Mom and Dad. Next month. Webb was escalating to home invasions because credit card fraud wasn't profitable enough anymore. Derek's voice is hollow. Your car theft was supposed to be a test run for the new model, target someone during family emergencies when they're distracted and vulnerable. The visiting room suddenly feels suffocating. Everything I thought I knew about Derek's crimes was just the surface. This wasn't sibling betrayal, it was organized terrorism targeting the most sacred bonds of family trust. The plea hearing is Friday, I say finally. I'll be there. Derek's eyes fill with desperate hope. Does that mean? It means I'll be there, I repeat, and hang up the phone without another word. As I drive home, I realize that Derek's fate was never really in my hands. The only choice I have is whether to forgive him for my own peace of mind, or carry this hatred forever. But forgiveness and justice don't have to be the same thing. Friday morning arrives gray and cold, matching my mood as I walk up the courthouse steps at 8:45 a.m. The federal building looms above me like a concrete monument to consequences, and I can see news vans parked along the street. Apparently Derek's case has attracted media attention, local identity theft ring dismantled, according to the headline crawling across Channel 7's mobile unit. Jennifer Martinez meets me in the lobby, looking harried and clutching a coffee that's probably her 4th of the morning. Miss Chen, I'm glad you're here. There's been a development. My stomach drops. What kind of development? Webb's attorney approached the prosecutor this morning with a counteroffer. Webb claims Derek was actually the ringleader, that he recruited Webb and the others, not the other way around. She guides me toward the elevators. They're saying Derek's cooperation is just an elaborate performance to shift blame. That's insane. Derek's not smart enough to run a multi-state criminal operation. I agree, but Webb's story is surprisingly detailed. He claims Derek approached him in Nevada with an existing family target list that Derek had been stealing from relatives for years before they ever met. The elevator opens and we step inside. The prosecutor is starting to question whether the plea deal is appropriate. We ride up to the 5th floor in silence, my mind racing. If Webb successfully flips the narrative, Derek goes from cooperating witness to criminal mastermind. Life without parole becomes not just possible, but probable. The courtroom is smaller than I expected, with maybe 30 seats for observers. I recognize several family members scattered throughout, Mom and Dad in the front row, Aunt Linda clutching a tissue, Cousin Mike looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Detective Rodriguez nods at me from the prosecution side, and I notice a man in an expensive suit who must be Webb's attorney whispering urgently to a woman I don't recognize. At exactly 9 a.m., Derek is brought in wearing a navy blue suit that Jennifer must have provided. He looks older than his 28 years, with dark circles under his eyes and his hair badly in need of a cut. When he sees me, his face shows a flicker of hope that makes my chest tight. Judge Patricia Hoffman enters and the bailiff calls us to order. She's maybe 60, with steel gray hair and a kind of expression that suggests she's seen every sob story in the book and believes none of them. Good morning. We're here for the plea hearing in United States versus Derek Michael Chen, case number 2024, CR 00847. Judge Hoffman shuffles through papers. Mr. Park, I understand there are complications regarding the defendant's cooperation agreement. Assistant U.S. Attorney David Park stands, looking like he'd rather be prosecuting tax evaders. Your Honor, new information has come to light regarding Mr. Chen's role in this conspiracy. Co-defendant Marcus Webb claims Mr. Chen was actually the organizer of the family targeting scheme, not a reluctant participant as previously believed. Jennifer jumps to her feet. Your Honor, Mr. Webb's claims are self-serving lies designed to reduce his own culpability. The evidence clearly shows. Ms. Martinez, you'll have your turn. Judge Hoffman's voice cuts through the courtroom like a blade. Mr. Park, what specific evidence supports Mr. Webb's version? Webb provided detailed records showing payments flowing from Mr. Chen to other conspirators, indicating a leadership role. He also claims Mr. Chen possessed victim profiles dating back to 2018, before their alleged first meeting. My blood runs cold. Derek told me he started in 2019, but if Webb has evidence from 2018, that means Derek was surveilling our family for 6 years, not 4. Judge Hoffman turns to Jennifer. Ms. Martinez, how does your client respond to these allegations? Your Honor, Mr. Webb is facing life without parole and has every incentive to fabricate evidence. My client has provided substantial cooperation leading to multiple arrests and the prevention of numerous planned crimes. Jennifer's voice is steady, but I can see sweat beading on her forehead. The prosecution's original assessment of Mr. Chen's role remains accurate. Mr. Park, do you wish to withdraw the plea offer? The prosecutor glances at Detective Rodriguez, who shakes her head almost imperceptibly. Not at this time, Your Honor. However, we request a 2-week continuance to evaluate Mr. Webb's claims before proceeding. Derek's face crumples. 2 more weeks in federal detention, 2 more weeks of uncertainty, 2 more weeks of Webb's attorney crafting lies to save his client's skin. Judge Hoffman checks her calendar. Very well. This matter is continued until March 29th at 9 a.m. Mr. Chen will remain in custody pending resolution of these questions. She bangs her gavel. Court is adjourned. As Derek is led away in handcuffs, he turns back to look at me one last time. The desperation in his eyes is real, but then again, Derek's always been good at looking like a victim. Walking out of the courthouse, I realize that after everything, the theft, the investigation, the family destruction, the federal charges, I still don't know who my brother really is. But I'm about to find out. The call comes at 11:47 p.m. on March 28th, exactly 12 hours before Derek's continued plea hearing. It's Detective Rodriguez, and she sounds exhausted. Mia, we broke Webb's story wide open. You need to hear this before tomorrow's hearing. I'm instantly awake, sitting up in bed. What did you find? Webb's evidence against Derek was fabricated. We had a forensic accountant analyze those payment records. They were created last week using backdated documents. Webb's desperate. Papers rustle in the background. But that's not the important part. Derek's been lying to everyone, including his own attorney. My stomach drops. What do you mean? We found Derek's real records, hidden in an encrypted drive Webb didn't know existed. Your brother wasn't the mastermind, but he wasn't just a victim either. He's been stealing from your family since 2016, 3 years before he ever met Webb. The room seems to tilt. 2016. Small stuff at first. $20 from your dad's wallet during Christmas 2016. $50 from your mom's purse during Easter 2017. Your grandmother's pearl earrings went missing in 2018. Derek sold them to a pawn shop in Cleveland for $300. I'm gripping the phone so hard my knuckles are white. Grandma Rose's pearls. She thought she lost them moving into the assisted living facility. Derek let an 80-year-old woman think she was losing her memory rather than admit he'd stolen from her. Rodriguez's voice is grim. The Webb crew didn't corrupt Derek, Mia. They just gave him a bigger stage. At 8:30 a.m., I arrive at the courthouse with a printout of every crime Derek committed against our family, chronologically organized and cross-referenced with family events. Jennifer Martinez looks confused when I hand her the timeline. Miss Chen, what is this? The truth about your client, I say calmly. Derek didn't become a criminal because of Webb. He became a better criminal because of Webb. Jennifer scans the document, her face growing paler with each entry. Where did you get this information? Detective Rodriguez. The FBI found Derek's personal records. Every theft, every lie, every family gathering he used as an opportunity to steal. I point to the first entry. Christmas 2016, stole $40 from gift money Grandpa Joe gave Mom to buy presents. Easter 2017, took Dad's emergency cash while he was in the hospital with pneumonia. This can't be right. Derek said he was trying to protect your family. Derek said a lot of things. Most of them were lies. I sit down in the courthouse hallway, watching other families arrive for their own legal nightmares. I'm not testifying for Derek today, Jennifer. I'm testifying for his victims. At exactly 9 a.m., Judge Hoffman calls us to order. Derek looks hopeful when he sees me in the gallery, but that hope dies when I walk to the prosecution's side of the courtroom and sit behind Detective Rodriguez. Mr. Park, what is the government's position regarding the plea agreement? Your Honor, after thorough investigation, we've determined that while Mr. Webb's recent claims were fabricated, they prompted us to discover the defendant's true criminal history. Park stands, holding a thick file. Mr. Chen has been systematically stealing from his own family for 8 years, not the 4 years originally believed. His cooperation, while valuable, doesn't merit the consideration we initially offered. Judge Hoffman turns to Derek. Mr. Chen, do you wish to address the court before I rule on your plea agreement? Derek stands slowly, his hands shaking. Your Honor, I know I've made terrible mistakes. I know I've hurt people I love. But I've been trying to make it right. I've given the FBI everything they needed to stop Webb and Santos from hurting other families. Mr. Chen, the judge interrupts, I've reviewed your cooperation agreement and your criminal history. While your assistance has been valuable, the court cannot ignore the pattern of predatory behavior targeting your own family members over nearly a decade. Derek's attorney whispers something to him, but he shakes his head and continues. I just want my sister to know that I never meant for it to go this far. When I took her car, I thought. You thought you could get away with it one more time. I stand up, surprising everyone including myself. Just like you got away with Grandma Rose's pearls, and Dad's emergency money, and 8 years of treating your family like your personal ATM. Judge Hoffman raises her eyebrows. Miss Chen, you're not scheduled to speak. Your Honor, I'm the victim who reported the original crime. I think I've earned the right to be heard. She nods. Proceed. I look directly at Derek, and for the first time in months, I feel completely calm. Derek, you stole my car while I was burying our grandfather. But that wasn't your first theft, or your worst. You stole Grandma Rose's pearls and let her think dementia was making her forget things. You stole from Dad while he was in the hospital. You stole Christmas money from Mom and watched her stress about being unable to afford presents. Derek is crying now, but I continue. The saddest part isn't that you're a criminal, Derek. It's that you were our criminal. For 8 years, you looked us in the eye at family dinners and knew you were planning to rob us. I turned to Judge Hoffman. Your Honor, I don't want Derek to get life in prison. But I also don't want him to get 15 years and convince himself he's a victim of circumstances. Derek made 8 years of calculated choices to steal from people who loved him. That's who he is. Judge Hoffman nods slowly. Mr. Chen, I'm rejecting the 15-year plea agreement. However, in light of your cooperation, I'm prepared to offer 25 years with possibility of parole and 15, contingent on full restitution to all family victims and continued cooperation with federal investigators. Derek's legs give out and he sits down hard. Jennifer whispers urgently in his ear, and after a long moment, he nods. I accept, Your Honor. Very well. Sentencing is scheduled for April 15th. As Derek is led away, he doesn't look back at me. For the first time in our lives, he seems to understand that his actions have consequences he can't charm his way out of. Outside the courthouse, Mom approaches me with tears in her eyes. 25 years, Mia. Was it worth it? I think about Grandma Rose's pearls, about Maria losing her job, about every family gathering Derek attended while planning to rob us. Ask me in 25 years, Mom. Walking back to my car, my reclaimed, beloved Honda Civic with Grandma Rose's rosary still hanging from the mirror, I finally feel something I haven't felt since this nightmare began. Peace. Derek will have decades to think about what he did to our family. And for the first time in 8 years, I don't have to wonder if the person I'm trusting with my keys is planning to steal my car. The brother who taught me to ride a bike was always a thief. I just wasn't looking hard enough to see it.